Well, what a main event with Sami Zayn coming in to help out Kevin Owens, only to eventually turn on him after Kevin decided to reject his offer of using the championship on CM Punk to win, which caused Sami Zayn to hit Kevin Owens in the head with the belt, and then CM Punk gets a terrible looking GTS, but that's really the only complaint about this match for me. And then getting the victory, so CM Punk retains in Toronto, but after the match, it wasn't over because Sami Zayn then hits Kevin Owens again, hits CM Punk a couple of times with the championship, and Sami Zayn stands tall. I think this was great. And that was one of the best false finishes I've seen in quite some time. The initial false finish was Sami Zayn coming in, throwing CM Punk into the ring post, KO hitting the stunner, and then CM Punk getting a beautiful kick out. So well done all around for that particular segment, that match, and the false finish, which you don't often get a convincing one nowadays. So good stuff there. And we'll dive into that match a little bit more, what it could mean moving forward. We've got the Saturday night's main event coming up in a few weeks. Then we've got the big PLE of Money in the Bank that is hot on its heels, coming to us, I think October 9th, 10th, something along those lines. So we'll get back into the PLEs sooner than later. But first, breaking news, Tiffany Stratton has dyed her hair pink, apparently. I guess to get away from Blake Monroe and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I guess to get away from that look and distinguish herself. I guess. I don't know. It is what it is. If you like pink hair, I mean, that's what she's doing. Wasn't Eva Marie, or who was it? Somebody out there is yelling the name. All Things Pink, whatever her name was, a few years ago. She came back and then broke her ankle or something. Or Shayna Baszler did. Or anyway, that's something that if you care about such things, she's dyed her hair pink. So all of her problems are now fixed. We're all going to start reacting to her because she has pink hair. I guess that's the idea. I mean, I don't think she's that naive, but I really can't blame her for all the shit that I give Tiffany Stratton, trying to differentiate herself from the group, even if it's a small thing, is a smart thing to do. So, welcome to the show. We're here. It's Sunday. We're going to go through a couple of emails on the back end of the show, and then we're going to get into the weekend review in a minute. I'd want to welcome you too. If you haven't joined us before, you can go all ad-free everything. If you want to get rid of those ads you've heard in the show and the ones you're going to hear, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Now, also in breaking news, Nyla Rose, those of you who may not know or pay attention to the news feed that's outside of the basic kind of big news websites, I should say, to be correct, he is a dude pretending to be a woman. So the whole trans agenda has made its way into wrestling, if you didn't already know that. An agenda that is just dying and getting its ass kicked left and right from litigation, from the Supreme Court. But, of course, you have people hanging on to this delusion that we're all, or at least at one point, we're all supposed to just pretend that, hey, this is normal, and you can just become whatever sex you want, whichever sex, because there's not more than two, just because you feel like it, and subvert just basic biology. And this is a story from Ringside News. It says Nyla Rose wasn't remotely bothered when a transphobic fan came after her appearance, meaning a person that just believes in basic biology, of course. So be careful of the phrasing here. Instead of getting defensive, the former AEW Women's Champion turned the insult straight back around on the person hiding behind the anime profile picture. The exchange happened on August 22nd when a fan targeted Rose with a comment about his, I'm not going to say her, his appearance and hairline. It says, "You still look like a man, especially with that hairline, sir." And Rose saw it, and she mocked the idea that pointing out something about her appearance was somehow going to hurt her feelings. She said, quote, "Oh no, you've hurt my feelings and made me so sad by saying things that are completely obvious to literally anyone who isn't vision impaired. Only difference is I'm comfortable and confident enough to rock it while you hide behind an anime picture because you're a coward and can never live up to being the man you wish you were. Teehee." Again, very insensitive for Nyla to assume this person's gender. Very insensitive. How do you know that this is a man you're speaking to? Shouldn't you have asked his pronouns first? The bigotry here. Of course, the reality is that the irony is lost on these morons. The idea that we're all supposed to partake in this delusion is, of course, all you need to know about the fragility of this ideology. And again, it's in wrestling, so I'm talking about it. That's why. So those of you that are like, this is not wrestling. No, it is, because it's in wrestling. So I'm talking about it. But the idea that it's brought into wrestling was inevitable. You were going to have some fucking lunatic come in and pretend that we're all supposed to believe that they are a woman. But you notice it never really goes the other way around. Very rarely does it go the other way around when it comes to sports of any kind. It's always the men trying to interject themselves into women's sports by just taking a few hormones and chopping off their penises, and suddenly they're just women magically because there's no other differences besides a few appendages, which always makes you wonder by those people who believe they're trans getting surgery is somehow affirming it. You wonder why chopping them off doesn't. But nonetheless, so it's always just a pretzel of a logic that you have to try to twist your mind into for these people. But if you keep it simple, they lose their minds. But this is not this is, by the way, the title of this article says that Nyla Rose destroys transphobic fan who claims she still looks like a man. No, she didn't destroy the fan. In fact, she embarrassed herself. He embarrassed himself even further. So, yeah, sure. We have dudes in the women's division, which was inevitable. Oh boy. So, which also, again, makes you wonder why, if the companies believe that men and women are inherently not different, you can just kind of get a surgery, or just not even get surgery, just say you are one and you just are, then why are there even men's and women's divisions? Why are the men not able to retaliate? I know in AEW they kind of do, but in WWE, I'm sure the higher-ups, the corporates, would say that transphobic people need to be protected and save trans lives and all that other just dead nonsense. But yet, what if they came out and Brock Lesnar comes in and says, hey, you know what? I'm coming out of retirement. I decided I'm going to compete in the women's division because this whole time I've been a woman. Amazing how suddenly they would believe that this is not true. Yet we're supposed to believe that everybody else who just says they are is one. Nonetheless, okay, moving on. Let's get to SmackDown. If I haven't pissed off some people, but I don't care. I mean, let me just say this last thing. After all this time, the question has been asked years now, years and years. There's been a documentary on it. If you are on the side that cannot coherently define what a woman is, coherently, meaning not a circular definition of saying, well, whoever says they're one is one. That's not defining what it is, right? If you can't coherently define what that is, then you might want to rethink what side you're on. If you have to twist your logic, if you have to try to play mind Jedi with yourself or the person you're talking to describe what just a woman is, then you may want to rethink that you may be on the wrong side here of the debate. Anyway, get to SmackDown. And Amanda did a great job of this. If you haven't already listened to her, go ahead and do that. And it was from, as we know, Toronto. Cody Rhodes was in the ring and he called out Randy Orton. And Aldis walked on stage and told Cody they weren't going to do this tonight. And Orton came out anyway, and he said he'd beat Cody's ass in 2 weeks at Saturday night's main event. And Cody called for the match to take place now. Aldis says that Cody and Orton could tear each other apart at Saturday night's main event, but not a second sooner. He said that if either man placed a finger in the other, they would never get a shot at the championship. And Orton said there was no way he would get in that ring and jeopardize his chance of becoming a 15-time champion. And Orton said Cody wouldn't have been able to live with himself had he struck him with a chair full force last week. And Orton says he has zero remorse and knows how to be his worst self, and said that Cody's a good guy and always will be. And Cody questioned if it would actually be a bad thing to hit Orton with a chair, given some of the things that Orton did to him. And he says he's the one who kills the legend killer because he's QB1. Boy, he still wants that QB1, doesn't he? He really wants QB1 to be a thing. He must have seen fantasy football one day on his ESPN app or Yahoo or wherever, and he's like, QB1. That's it. QB, that's me. It's not catching on. But he said, Randy, that's not a prediction, that's a spoiler. So clearly the line of the night there, beyond the QB1 nonsense, he says it's not a prediction, it's a spoiler. Now, we all know that comes from Paul Heyman. We know where that line originates, infamously. It's been said for many, many years now. Is that a red herring? Meaning, is that meant to throw us off that there is some kind of connection down the line we will see between Heyman and Cody? Or this is not a red herring and it's a clue for something that will definitely happen? Or it's just nothing. It's just he borrowed it from Paul Heyman and it wasn't meant to be anything more than that. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want Paul Heyman with Cody Rhodes. I don't see the need for it. Paul Heyman is meant to be with men that need him to grow. Cody doesn't need that. Sure, when Cody turns heel at some point in the next year, you could have Heyman align with him. Sure, I guess. But Cody doesn't need that crutch. The attention should be squarely on Cody when that happens. I don't need Paul Heyman there, as great as he is. So again, I'm 4 steps ahead, but let's see where that goes, if there's any more evidence for Cody turning heel. And if you're looking for more of it, I mean, Randy Orton continuing to say he's a good guy and always will be. I mean, that is kind of setting the table for a potential turn if you're, again, looking for it. All right. So a solid segment to open the show. And then we have the actual first match of the night. And it was Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga taking on Damian Priest and R-Truth for the tag team titles. And the match went 11 and a half minutes with the Tongans retaining. As kind of expected, it's the first match of the night. Damian and R-Truth just lost them. You're not going to give them back to them. And you're trying to kind of reinvent the Tongans here, Tala and Tama. So you figured they weren't going to lose, but still, it was an okay match. I mean, they hit their Red Cross finish, which is okay. After the match, Priest was frustrated and he hugged R-Truth, and that was it. So there was no turn, and that was good, which I was thinking that they might do. I don't really know what they're doing with Damian Priest these days. At least they're giving him a spot, but it feels like a hold me over, I don't know what to do with this guy yet type of scenario. And we know with R-Truth, his second run that was forced by the fans has been pitiful by WWE. And they almost did it out of spite to say, okay, you know what? Fine. Damn it. We'll bring R-Truth back because you guys cried and bitched enough. But we know what we're going to do. We're going to take the best part of R-Truth out of his game. We're going to get rid of his hair, his personality. We're going to make him just Ron Killings. And they kind of brought back R-Truth, but he added 15 years to his age when they cut his hair. So this is, I mean, I don't dislike that R-Truth is back, but they did it and then said, yeah, fine. But you know what? We're going to take a piece of your soul. That's the cost of bringing him back. So no turn. But I think this might be the final time that Priest and R-Truth are a tag team. All right. So we had some stuff backstage with Kathy Kelly and Chelsea Green telling Tiffany she had a plan to make it up for her the way that things went down last week, and not really anything there. Paige told Green that what Green did last week was empowering. Fatal Influence women's champion JC Jane and the tag team champions Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed then came up, and they mocked Stratton and Paige for advising Green, and even though they have no idea how to keep a championship, Paige challenged Jane by talking about her title. First of all, what was so empowering about what Green said last week? What do you mean empowering? To who? Paige is infinitely more accomplished in this business than Green. What could Green have possibly said that was more empowering? Whatever. But okay. So I still want Paige out of this. She's not going to be out of this, I think, at least for the short term, in terms of getting her out of the tag team division, putting her where she properly belongs, in the damn women's singles division. All right. So backstage, Kathy Kelly interviews Blake Monroe, and she spoke about facing Julia, and she was trying to find the appropriate outfit to wear, quote, in this dump, and Monroe said she'll make people remember her. All right. I mean, that's kind of it. Not a throwaway segment. No, it was a throwaway segment. I shouldn't have mentioned it. All right. We had backstage, more backstage stuff. I forgot how much backstage stuff there was here. Alexa and Charlotte talked backstage about Bliss's belated birthday brunch. And Tatum Paxley shows up and says that she couldn't wait to hang out with Flair and Bliss. And Jade and B-Fab and Meechin show up and called Paxley a freak show. And Paxley asked which one of them was Mary, and she needed their blood. And Meechin challenged Paxley to a match next week, and Paxley said it would be her first match and accepted it. And then Paxley hugged an uncomfortable Charlotte, that was weird. It was kind of a weird segment. I have to agree with that. The chemistry isn't there fully yet with these women. I don't know eventually what's going to happen. Is the return of Paxley? Is Alexa going to turn on Charlotte? Is Charlotte going to turn? I hope it's just not. I really don't care. Well, I do care. I hope it's not Alexa turning. I hope even more it's not Charlotte who's eventually going to turn. They want to turn Tatum Paxley heel in a few months, fine. But also she's trying to get her traction here. I wouldn't do that. And if they're also trying to set up ahead of time, kind of set the stage for a women's War Games match, well, then the turn, if it's going to happen, isn't going to happen until after the actual match. The War Games, that is. One other thing, since we're talking about Jade Cargill and B-Fab and Meechin, there have been, I don't know which one, have or has been, some people online who, again, it's not haters that I'm giving attention to or time to. It's more in response to the people who are trying to defend Jade Cargill, and that they're being too mean. Leave her alone. She's trying to improve. I mean, I don't know how to say this. She's been here for 3 years now. She's also in a position where she's making a lot of money, where she volunteered for this profession as well, in the public eye, and we're supposed to just be quiet and not criticize. Because why again? Now, it is annoying when people complain just to complain. Sometimes I feel like that. I'm sure many people feel that I do that sometimes. Whatever. But you have the right to. Even if I wasn't putting any time or effort or money and I had no vested interest in the success or failure of professional wrestling or Jade Cargill, I live in America. So like, I can kind of say and do what I want within the law. Inciting violence, of course, and threatening. You can't do that. Threaten people's lives. Can't do that. Duh. But just having an opinion about somebody who's a public figure and makes a lot of money, and I'm supposed to feel bad for her? Yeah, that's not going to happen. I have no sympathy for Jade Cargill at all. None. I'm sure, and I don't know the value of her contract, but based on her performance and likely what she's getting paid, she's probably being overpaid. Probably. I don't know the intimate details, and neither do you, but something tells me she's probably being overpaid based on what she's bringing into the company at this point. She's improved, yes, but really for 3 years of improvement, if you translated that to your job, do you think you'd get a satisfactory rating and keep your job? No. If we saw the level of improvement in terms of Jade's improvement in the last 3 years, and you took that scale of improvement and translated it into the job you're at, you'd be fired. They wouldn't keep you because you are not showing initiative, or at least it seems like you're not. It seems like you're not grasping it. This ain't for you. Move on. And yes, Jade was solely brought in from AEW because of how she looked. Let's not pretend it's any other reason. It's not. That doesn't mean that you can't make a good living by just how you look, but that does mean you're going to cap yourself because eventually the limits of how you look will like eventually run out. Like you will reach that ceiling of your ability a lot sooner, because after your looks fade and people get tired of seeing you and realizing you can't deliver a great match, you will be shunned by the fans. They will become disinterested and go, okay, I guess it's all sizzle and no steak. And with Jade, time's running out, baby. And to tell us though, like these people online, and I say people, I'm talking news sites that we all know, saying that we need to just stop and enjoy the show and stop being mean to Jade. Oh, yeah, let me make sure that at the forefront of my priorities are the feelings of Jade Cargill. Make sure her tummy doesn't hurt because I said something that she doesn't like online or that you don't like online. Very convincing. Again, I'm not authorizing, or I can't authorize it, but I'm not encouraging people to try to put people down online just because you can. I mean, you have a right to, freedom of speech, as we know, but I'm not saying that's a good thing to do morally. But if you're investing, especially if you're investing your time and money into a product and you see something that's just garbage, something bad, something you know could be better, you're almost under an obligation to say something. You're under an obligation almost to, you should say something if you don't feel you're getting your money's worth. No other company acts like this. Although you do hear it kind of here and there from different entertainment venues or movies, or genres of movies or TV shows. Well, if you hate it so much, why do you watch it? And all that garbage. I mean, you hear that all the time, and it's like, hey, again, I'm investing my time and money in this. Shouldn't, as a company, you welcome, or at least outwardly pretend that you welcome criticism to improve your product? Don't you want your customer base satisfied? Now, there'll always be people who complain just to complain, and you need to kind of have a sensor of that and know when that's happening, and you're not going to please everybody, and you shouldn't have a very, what's the word I'm looking for? You shouldn't bend the knee to every person that complains. Of course not. But if there's a trend and you don't pay attention to those trends, that's a derelict of duty as an organization. That's a slap in the face and disrespectful to your customer base. But I hope that doesn't encourage people and discourage people from not saying anything, because that's what WWE, TKO more specifically, has tried to do. They have tried to tell us they don't pay attention to negativity, therefore trying to get ahead of us criticizing so that we don't use the power we have of banding together and telling the public what sucks right now. No, You should praise. I praise when I can. I did to open the show. But this movement lately of just not trying to, and just trying to tell people to just shut up and enjoy the product, fuck you. I mean, that should just light a fire under your ass to complain even more about the things you don't like. That's what that should do. I'm sure there is a large subset of this world, especially in outside of the U.S., but even inside the U.S., that would love nothing more than to truly ban certain types of speech, outlaw certain types of speech. They want to amend or abolish the First Amendment of the Constitution. I mean, there are people who are just outwardly against being able to utilize the First Amendment. And that's what they categorize hate speech as, which, of course, is just what exactly is hate speech? What if my speech is hateful, but it's towards, I don't know, child murderers? See, not all hate is created equal. Also, why is hate any worse than indifference? What if something really bad was happening and I'm like, who cares? I see some kid on the street getting attacked. I know I'm going to kids here a lot, but I'm using examples to kind of make my point. If you saw a kid on the street getting beaten by a homeless guy and I'm like, who cares? You know, the cop's like, well, you didn't do anything. It's like, who cares? Shouldn't indifference kind of point to your lack of a moral compass in your soul? Anyway, to me, hate speech or any kind of speech that's provocatory, that's the kind of speech that was in the minds of those people who created the First Amendment. And again, I'm talking about the United States of America. Wherever country you're from, obviously laws are different. Your founding was different. I understand that. But in the United States, man, that's the rule of the land. And you should exercise it. You really should. Not to purposely try to hurt people. When you feel passionately about something, use it. All right. We're going on tangents tonight, guys. And we also got a couple emails that we'll try to get to as well. I promise. So Trick Williams comes out. Baron Corbin drove a motorcycle onto the stage, and he walked to the ring, but he wasn't wearing his belt. And Corbin head faked Yachty. That's right. He rolled out of the ring, and Trick said he was the one Corbin was looking for. And Trick challenged Corbin to an immediate title shot. And Corbin said the belt was getting a pretty little haircut. And Corbin said Trick wouldn't be getting another title shot. He said he lost his rematch and said, no, this is over. And Yachty hit Corbin with a kendo stick, and Corbin ended up on the floor and said he would face Trick on Saturday night's main event. But first, he wanted to face Yachty in his hometown. And Corbin said that if Yachty survives 5 minutes, he'll give Trick his title shot. And if he doesn't, then Trick won't get another title shot again. We're done. Kind of weird here. I don't mind Baron Corbin on the microphone. He's an asset. He's not going to ever be the face of the company. I don't think he'll ever be world champion. But there's a place for a guy like Corbin. He's a veteran at this point. He's solid in the ring. He's solid on the mic. Again, barring some kind of miracle, I don't think he'll be a world champion, but you can certainly put him in the U.S. title picture and see if you catch lightning in a bottle with him. It's possible. But outside of this, there's two big problems I have with this. Number one, he just said you'll never get another shot at this. We're done. I'm tired of you. And then, of course, under the rule of law in WWE, we reward bad behavior, because after the kendo stick, he's like, no, okay, well, you convinced me. Argument well put. Sounds good. All you have to do is just have Yachty survive for 5 minutes, and I'll give you your shot. So he goes back on his word within 30 seconds. Rewarding bad behavior is the policy of the land in WWE. And so we have that, which again, it's a complaint, but it's just one that I've kind of just grown tired of pointing out. So there's that. But also, How long does it take to just get that fur removed from the United States Championship? Why are we still carrying this around weeks later? The belt team can, the team in the back, I mean, you can't just even grab a replica championship. Why are we carrying that disgraced United States Championship around? And it's a disgrace. Whoever came up with it. It's defamatory. It's sacrilegious. It is, again, I don't want anybody modifying any championships for any reason. That certainly includes the spinner belt. That includes the stupid butterfly belt for the Divas era. There's been modifications at times to other championships. Can we stop it? And even the Fiend. Remember the Fiend? He had his own. I didn't like it. So I just, especially this, putting fur on a championship. Number one, you're a dude. All right. So that makes it worse. It does make it look very feminine. I don't care if it's whatever nonsense or masculinity. Who gives a shit? Yeah. And that's another topic for another day and a podcast not on this one. So I'll leave that topic alone, but it's a feminized belt. And I don't know how we just can't have, the team can put a ring together, put a Titantron together, tear it down 4 times a week, put video packages together, movie quality at a moment's notice. And yet they can't just fix this United States Championship problem. I know that maybe it's just built into the storyline, but it really bothers me. It's ridiculous. Okay, continuing. The second match of the night, Lash Legend beats Tiffany Stratton in 7 minutes. And Jax comes in the ring afterwards. They beat down Stratton. Chelsea Green comes out with my beloved kendo stick and clears them from the ring. So Chelsea Green being legitimized here. She's no longer just the joke of a champion. And that's fine. You need that. The kendo stick is... It's so funny. I was just mentioning it last week, how it's incredibly overused. I know why they use it. It sounds good. It's safer than a lot of other weapons. It'll leave a welt on you, but if that's the worst it does, then so be it. I'm not a kendo stick guy. Never have been. So we then have Shinsuke Nakamura. He had a vignette air, and he warned everyone for weeks. And he said that after competing around the world, he's finally arrived in WWE. That was Kyoki, who was in the video with him. And he said he's stronger than his opponents are and more fun. He said, I'm sorry, the stronger his opponents are, the more fun he has. And Nakamura said Kyoki isn't afraid of chaos. He enjoys it. And there will be an explosion when strong style meet and madness collides. So, okay, there's a new wrinkle here for Shinsuke. He's not just coming back again for the 14th time. It's actually bringing somebody with him. So Kevin Owens comes out for the main event. Again, only 3 matches here on the show. And we get the match for the WWE Championship. Nearly 20 minutes. So, again, opening the show, I talked about this, but this was a very good match. I could see them locking up again. We would imagine that it's going to be a triple threat for the championship, maybe as soon as Saturday night's main event. But bringing Gunther also is a very strong possibility. So it could be a fatal 4-way at Money in the Bank. I wouldn't hate it. But this main event truly felt like a SmackDown main event. You had Punk competing, and how often do you have him competing, defending the championship, much less on a televised event that's not a PLE. So it did feel like a big moment. It was in the main event. Kevin Owens freshly returned. A near fall that was a really good near fall, only to have a swerve. Sami Zayn attacks Kevin Owens, or turns on him after in anger, and costing him the match, and Punk retains. And then Punk gets laid out by Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn was really the last one standing in a good match, really good match. So end the show here with some positivity. Now, I know, sorry guys for the sniffling. I don't know if I have a cold or I haven't had a cold in forever, but it could be just allergies or whatever the hell my family has. Okay. So on Raw, I'll give you the main event. I'm sorry, the match results quickly as a reminder. Javon Evans beats JD McDonagh. We had Big Cass. Don't forget about Big Cass beating up Javon Evans. Rey Fenix getting the win over El Fiscal to advance in the semifinals of the tournament for a shot at the World Championship. We had Sol Ruca defeat Lyra Valkyria in 11 minutes. We had the publicly traded company garbage from Paul Heyman, and I don't say garbage and Paul Heyman in a sentence that often. So a rare bad promo, in my opinion, for Paul Heyman. We had Dragon Lee beat El Hijo. I really don't feel like I'm saying that right. And in 11 minutes to advance in the semifinals. And then for the Intercontinental Championship, Chad Gable defeats Rey Mysterio in a very good match in 13 minutes, as well as the LA Knight Solo Sikoa being delivered to Roman. Roman ends up getting spiked by Solo. The fans get really behind Solo and Knight and their alliance that we think is going to lead to eventually Seth Rollins joining them, which is going to lead to more support against the Bloodline and a big old War Games setup for November. That's my best guess. Now, one thing about the John Cena tournament, John Cena Classic, that was announced several months ago. John Cena was recently asked about this, and he talked about how they're still working on it and working out the kinks. It still is just really amazing that they viewed what they talked about several months ago as just kinks. This wasn't even half-baked. It's almost as if they didn't even have all the ingredients, much less half-baked. It is still at its core, a horrific concept. It's horrible. The only thing they're leaning on here to have any value to this is the John Cena name. But they're putting lipstick on a pig. If you remove John Cena, just take John Cena out of this. This is how you know it's a bad idea. Take the garbage marketing away. Take John Cena's name out. If WWE just out of whole cloth came up with this concept and said, this is what we're going to do. It's going to be just the wrestling classic. And we're going to have a championship that the fans are going to vote through. People that, if someone loses, well, the fans can vote through that person anyway. This would be critically panned. It's only because John Cena delivered it and slapped his name on it that some people are giving it a chance. And okay, I'm still willing to see the final result. Maybe they changed a lot of big problems with this. But if the fundamentals of this stand, where if matches, say your favorite wrestler X loses a match, but the fans vote him through anyway, this isn't, what the fuck is that? That is literally a popularity contest. What are the point of the matches then? Just have votes. The matches don't mean a thing if you're just going to have fans have the power to negate the WWE's booking. I mean, why even have the match? If the ultimate say is the fans voting, how is WWE this incompetent to come up with this and not see through that? That's not just a small problem or a little hole they need to fix and patch up here. That's a gaping hole of illogical nonsense. And then you add to the fact that, okay, fine, even if they somehow fix that, fan voting doesn't push somebody through, which does help, they're still adding a championship to the rotation of championships that they already don't do much with a lot of times. They need to add value to their current championships before they start adding more. I don't think this is a good idea. Remember the Crown Jewel Championship, how we're supposed to believe it's the most important thing ever for like a few weeks, and then it goes into the ether? You think we need more of that? What is this going to do? John Cena, I want a platform to showcase new talent. Oh, you mean just what WWE should be doing anyway with NXT and bringing up talent? They already have a system for that. That's called NXT, John. That's what that's called. And if you want a NXT champion or an NXT PLE, well, we've already got those. We've had them for many years. And if you're thinking, well, they're not on the main roster. Okay, so bring them up. I don't know. Have an exclusive mixed NXT main roster event. Kind of easy. We don't need John Cena to create this mythical, totally unimportant John Cena classic with a championship that has no lineage, no value outside of the John Cena name. It has inherently mind-blowingly bad logical holes. So, as you can tell, I'm very excited about this upcoming tournament, whenever it is. I have it on my calendar that's right. They didn't give you a date. Good God. All right, let's get to some emails, and then we'll call it a night. All right. Where am I? My goodness. Did I talk to Curtis? I feel like I did. But if I didn't, let's talk to him anyway. He said, hey, I attended a house show last Thursday in London, Ontario. I meant to WWE. In a half hour where I live. It was a solid night. I enjoyed myself with some damn good overpriced beers. It's been so long since I attended a live show. It felt great. I had about 5 drinks or so it made the event even more fun. Doesn't it? Yeah. Good old beers. So I'm going to guess if you had 5 beers in London, Ontario, in the United States anyway, that you spent 5 beers, you're looking at like $60, $70. It's ridiculous. Anyway, keep in mind I absorbed everything, and don't worry, I feel like it was a project I'm writing. I remember as I write, it's Friday morning right now. Okay, so Intercontinental Title match, Chad and Dominic. It was a fun match to start the show, and the crowd went nuts for Dom. Personally, I was rooting more for Gable. I don't yell out anything too much unless I'm really something into. And Chad won and retained. Good. Ricky Saints cut a promo about how much he hates the city, and then Danhausen comes out. This was easily the pop of the night. I don't care for him, as I said before, so I just sat there. Danhausen curses him, and the lights went out, and then Kevin Owens comes out, which was a big pop that I actually got up and cheered for. I'm a big KO guy. Kevin Owens has a match with Ricky and then wins, obviously. Match was okay, but KO delivered a promo and said he would never take the fans cheering for him for granted again, and just talked about how he's going to beat CM Punk on Friday. Cool. The U.S. title match, Corbin, Balor, and Williams. Probably my favorite match, but I'm a bit biased because Corbin is one of my favorites. And I told you about the history I have with meeting Corbin twice in my fan page. I had, and all that stuff. Yes, I remember that. That was cool. The match actually was very good. When Corbin came out, I honestly think I was the only one standing in my section and cheering. Nobody else did much with him coming out. But boy, oh boy, did people lose their minds for Trick Williams. Finn Balor was meh. So Trick Williams, yeah, he's over. No doubt. Finn Balor, he's in a bit of a holding pattern. That's good to hear that Trick Williams is getting that much support again. I give him a bunch of shit for refacing the United States Championship, but the guy's got star power, no doubt. No doubt. Corbin obviously retained. This is the thing. There's way too many title matches at these house shows that pretty much means the champs are going to retain. So we can all really guess the winners easily, which I don't like. I'll get to the end of that in this email. Well, okay, well, if you get to it later, we'll talk about it. But the fact is that sometimes, on rare occasions, titles do change hands at house shows. I've seen it. It's not impossible. It's highly unlikely, but there is that small chance. Also, going in, right? So you know that they know and WWE knows they're not going to probably change hands, right? But then that means you're going for other reasons. There's more reasons to go other than just, well, they're going to retain. It's for the love of the sport. And it also doesn't mean you still can't go home satisfied because you've already predetermined and been likely right, that the championships aren't changing hands. So that means you have some other expectation of the show. Quality wrestling, potential surprise appearances, going for merch, collaborating with other wrestling fans, just for the atmosphere, a few beers, laughs, and also the heels getting their ass kicked. Doesn't mean they still can't get their ass kicked after the match, which is 99% of the time what happens anyway. Okay, Corbin retained, WWE World Tag Team Championship. They acted like it was going to intermission. Some people in my row were getting up. Byron Saxton was our ring announcer, and he said, well, there's still plenty of more wrestling after this. So me and a few others got up. And I just heard a Gunther, where was it? I just heard a Gunther with an interview backstage or something. So I was like, whatever. Okay. I go to the bathroom and I'm the only one there with a guy who is dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior. And all of a sudden I hear the Vision's theme song and I like the Vision. And as I'm peeing, I said out loud, oh, son of a bitch. I go wash my hands, but the damn cleaner was cleaning them and then the tap wasn't working. So I washed my hands and a drinking fountain was soap. Oh, jeez. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, man. You got to go. I missed the Vision's entrance, but they were mid promo with Maxine. LA Knight then came out and got a nice pop, and he challenged them for the World Tag Team titles. He then revealed his partner to be Obafemi. I don't know how people can do the strut at these events because all these seats are so cramped unless the people next to you are sitting. Decent, yeah, the strut is not my thing. But a decent match, but the whole match was just a build for Oba and Braun, and it was very good when Oba and Braun got in. Maxine then low-blowed LA Knight after he fell out of the ring as the legal man and had his arm around her, which was pretty funny. He then got back in the ring, and that's when she lowballed him. After the match, Knight and Oba did the strut together, which was cringy, yeah, I would imagine. Ugh, I hate that stuff. All right, 6-woman tag team match. Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte, and Tatum Paxley defeat Jade, B-Fab, and Michin. Chelsea cut a promo about being Canadian, and then slowly the women came out. When it officially became a tag match, I used this as a chance to go to the merch store. It feels impossible to get to the merch before the show or during intermission. Some of the fans were cutting in line that my buddy was in, and like, yeah, fuck that, I'll go during the women's match, and took another piss, and I just finished a King can of Budweiser. When I was in the merch buying a KO shirt, I actually felt at peace when nobody was there. That's the thing you got to do. You got to find a match that most people will probably be interested in and won't find the time or think it's a good time to go to the stands. You did it right. But it's also a risk. As I have found out, as you have found out, it's always a risk when you leave. You never know who or what could come out. So you got to move quickly. Absolutely. And it's funny you're drinking Budweiser. I was drinking Budweiser the same time probably as I was on the golf course drinking as we call them here, Bud Heavies, which are just like a regular Budweiser. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, tag team title match, MFTs versus Truth versus Priest. Fun match. Nothing really special. I'm still not used to bald R-Truth. His head doesn't suit him, and that's all I have to say. I just talked about that. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Main event, Gunther, Rhodes, and Punk in a WWE title match. Punk got a big pop, and same with Rhodes, but as I said earlier, Danhausen got the pop of the night. Obviously, Punk retained, but there was a table smash, and it was horrible. The table smash was 10% of the table that Punk went. So they fucked up the table spot. It happens. It's never fun when it happens. It always looks bad. But, I mean, what are you going to do? I give the show a solid 7 out of 10. I wish they didn't have so many title matches because we know the title isn't going to change hands at a house show. So all the winners were definitely easy to tell. Literally every main event roster championship was on the line except for the world title. I'm not a fan. Hours before the show, there were people standing in the hot sun and staring at buses and stuff. I met my buddy at a burger restaurant and I got there before him. And when I walked in, I saw Chad Gable eating some onion rings. I didn't want to bother him. I'm not that kind of fan, but he looked up and I was walking to my table. I said, "Hey, Chad." And he just said, "Hey man, how's it going?" I said, "Good." And he said, "Awesome. Hope you enjoy the show later. I didn't make a scene about it or ask him for a photo because the dude was eating and I wanted to leave him be." When he left, he just waved at me, and then later my buddy showed up, and I told him he couldn't believe it. Sometimes it's just nice to treat wrestlers as human beings and let them live their lives outside of wrestling. I hope I had a great experience. Simple. Also, I heard your mailbag the other night and added you on my PlayStation. My gamer tag is Buggy Barrel, and I guess your gamer tag is from your backyard wrestling name that you told us about. Yes, it is. So decode that. Cheers. Thanks for reading the long email. I appreciate you, again, putting all these notes in. It's not yes, guys, that was a lengthy email, but you know what? Took the time to come in with detail about a show that most of us, almost probably all of us, didn't see. It's nice to see what happens at these events, these live events that are now few and far between. It may give us hints as to what's coming. They test things out. It's their testing grounds. It really is. And it should be. That's one of the big benefits of non-televised live events. Wrestlers get to kind of try new things, and there's a lot less pressure, and it seems like the wrestlers sometimes have more fun. And seeing what goes on in merch and other little stories we'd never hear about, it's good. I appreciate that. And it's also cool that you didn't ask for a picture or bother him. And I think a lot of people miss that today. Now, if they're at a signing and you're paying for it, then fuck yeah. I mean, you should be able to do whatever you want with pictures. You better get your picture if you pay for it. But if you see him out in public, you need to pick your spots. And it seems like you did, Curtis. And I'm sure he was appreciative of it. You didn't just interject. He's taking, I'm sure he doesn't have a lot of downtime. It's interesting he was eating onion rings. I mean, we picture him eating just raw chicken and broccoli, but maybe it was his cheat meal of the week. He's in incredible shape, so he burns it off probably in 4 minutes. But it's cool that you had the self-control to not instinctually grab your phone in your pocket and be like, "Hey man, can you get a quick picture?" That demonstrates a lot of control, because so many people today don't do that. Everybody's got an HD camera in their pocket, so they just say, "You know what? Oh man, it's for me." They make it about themselves. They make it about themselves because they want to have that picture to be able to put on social media and show people how cool they are or who they met. It's to elevate themselves. It's to take, not give. And I'm not saying that I haven't done that. And I'm not saying that I don't understand the instinct. I get it. I can't even tell you if I'd have the ability to not do that if I saw a wrestler, depending on who it was. I'm not saying I'm better. I'm just saying I understand it, but I also can zoom out and go, "Oh, yeah, this is why most people do it." So Curtis, that's pretty cool. That's cool. And I hope he enjoyed his onion rings. He's probably surprised too. He's probably very surprised. You were probably one of the very few, I'm guessing, that if you recognized him and he knew he was going to be recognized, you're probably on a short list of people that recognized him and just kept going. And I'm sure he appreciated that. Very cool. All right. Well, we're going to probably end it here, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We'll get to another email or two on the Monday Night Raw review. So continue to send your emails. If you have emails that you want to send in and I can respond to, whether it's about wrestling or not, we can just kind of incorporate them throughout the week and not always wait just until Friday for the mailbag. Sometimes that's also a better idea. So I know we've got a couple still in the chute that I didn't get to tonight, but I'm exhausted and we're going to end it there. So I appreciate it, guys. We will chat in a couple of days. And if you want to hear more like this, more video, which I have not done lately, but it's coming, I promise, head on over to Patreon and get ad-free everything at patreon.com/WWE podcast, or go to X, follow us there at wrestling_audio, and also go to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Helps us all. Enjoy, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.